My dear friends, I want you to pause for a moment and truly consider this question. What words have you been speaking over your life? Because whether you realize it or not, the words that flow from your lips are creating the very world in which you live. Your words are not idle. They are not empty. They are living forces, carrying the power to bless or to curse, to build or to break, to heal or to wound. The Bible declares in Proverbs 18:21, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." Do you hear that? Death and life, not some small influence, but the power of life itself, is carried in your speech. And here is the great truth Florence Shinn shared so beautifully. You can speak things into existence. You can command your life by aligning your words with faith, with divine truth, and with the promises of God. Tonight, I invite you to journey with me into the mystery and majesty of the spoken word. Together we will see how to stop using words against ourselves, how to speak words that align with spirit, and how to manifest blessings, abundance, and peace simply by the power of our tongue. My friends, I want you to listen carefully tonight, for what I am about to share is not just theory, not just philosophy, it is spiritual law. It is truth that has been written in the heavens since the beginning of time. And if you receive it, if you apply it, it will transform your life. Let us begin where all creation began, with words. The very first act of creation in the Bible was not the lifting of a hand or the forming of a tool. No, the first act of creation was speech. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God spoke, and the universe obeyed. Out of the invisible came the visible. Out of the unseen came the seen. Do you understand what this means for you? You too are created in the image and likeness of God. That means your words hold power. They carry life, or they carry death, blessing or curse, expansion or limitation. Proverbs 18:21 declares, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." The fruit you are eating today, the life you are living, the circumstances you are experiencing, are the harvest of the words you have sown in days gone by. Every statement you make is a seed. When you say, "I am strong," you are sowing strength. When you say, "I am weak," you are sowing weakness. When you declare, "I always prosper," you are aligning with abundance. When you declare, "Nothing ever works out for me," you are commanding failure to appear. Now, many people treat their words as though they are nothing more than casual sounds, idle chatter. But the truth is, every word spoken carries a vibration, an energy, a command. Words go out into the unseen realm and return with their match. They are messengers that bring back to you the very thing you have spoken. Think of it this way. Your words are like servants you send out every day. If you send them out with instructions of lack, they will return with lack. If you send them out with instructions of health, they will return with health. If you send them out with instructions of peace, they will return with peace. Let me tell you a story. A woman once told me she was always struggling with money. She would constantly say, "I never have enough. I can't afford that. Money slips through my hands." And sure enough, no matter how much she earned, it seemed to vanish. One day she decided to change her confession. She began affirming daily, "I always have more than enough. Money comes to me easily and freely. God is my endless supply." At first, nothing changed. But she persisted. She held her tongue when she was tempted to speak lack, and she continued to declare abundance. Within a few months, new opportunities opened, unexpected checks arrived, and she was no longer living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because she had learned to align her words with divine supply instead of fear. You see, faith is not silent. Faith speaks. Romans 10:10 says, "For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation." What you believe must come forth through your mouth if it is to take root in your world. If you believe God is your healer, declare it. If you believe God is your provider, proclaim it. If you believe doors of opportunity are opening, speak it into being. Your words water the seeds of faith and give them power to grow. Now I know some of you are thinking, but what if I don't feel it? What if I don't believe it yet? That is the beauty of the law, my friends. You do not have to feel it to speak it. You speak it until you feel it. You declare it until belief rises up in you. You persist until faith takes hold. The tongue leads and the heart follows. The psalmist wrote in Psalm 107:2, "Let the redeemed of the Lord say so." Not think so, not wish so, say so. There is power in the spoken word that thought alone cannot release. Let me give you another story. A man once came to me and said, "I can't seem to get ahead. Every time I take one step forward, I fall 2 steps back." I asked him, "What words are you speaking?" He confessed, "I always say, I can't win. Nothing ever goes my way." I told him, "You are prophesying your own defeat. Change your words, and your life will change." Reluctantly, he began declaring, "Everything I do prospers. Favor surrounds me. I am always moving forward." At first he said it half-heartedly, but he stayed with it. Slowly opportunities came, doors opened, and his whole outlook shifted. He told me later, "The words I used to curse myself were the very words keeping me bound. The moment I changed my confession, my life changed." Friends, this is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is divine law. What you decree with your lips and believe in your heart must eventually take form in your world. Job 22:28 says, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways." When you decree health, health must establish itself. When you decree abundance, abundance must establish itself. When you decree peace, peace must come. But the opposite is also true. When you decree failure, failure will establish itself. When you decree sickness, sickness will come. When you decree lack, lack will make itself at home. That is why Jesus warned in Matthew 12:37, "By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned." You see, you are always speaking your world into being, for better or worse. So let me ask you tonight, what world are you creating? What atmosphere are you establishing in your home, your work, your health, your finances? Are you speaking words of life, or are you carelessly scattering words of death? It is time to wake up to the power of your tongue. It is time to stop speaking against yourself. It is time to align your words with the truth of God. Because when your words and your faith unite, heaven itself backs you. When you declare healing, the healing power of God is released. When you declare provision, the provision of God is set in motion. When you declare peace, the spirit of peace overshadows you. So here is your task. Watch your words. Set a guard over your lips. Refuse to let negative, fearful, or doubting speech escape your mouth. And in their place, release words of faith, words of truth, words that align with God's promises. Start every morning with declarations of power. I walk in divine health. I prosper in everything I do. God's favor goes before me. Everything I need is supplied in abundance. These affirmations are not empty. They are seeds that will bear fruit if you continue to water them with faith. Yes, it takes discipline. Yes, it takes persistence. But it is worth it, because the words you speak today are shaping the life you will live tomorrow. And now, having seen the creative power of words, and how they shape the very framework of your life, we must go deeper. Because it is not enough to merely avoid negative speech. We must also learn how to speak with divine authority, how to command our good with unwavering faith, and how to align our words with God's perfect will. That, my friends, will be the focus of the next section. My friends, now that you understand the creative force of your words, we must go further. It is not enough to simply avoid careless speech or to sprinkle a few positive affirmations here and there. To truly transform your life, you must learn to speak with authority, divine authority, knowing that your words are backed by the eternal power of God. Let me remind you, you are not speaking alone. When your words are aligned with truth, heaven itself is in agreement. The angels of God, the laws of spirit, and the divine order of creation all move into action at the sound of faith-filled speech. That is why Jesus said in Mark 11:23, "Whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith." Do you see it? It is not enough to believe silently. You must say it. You must speak directly to the mountain, and when you do so in faith, the mountain cannot resist. Now let me share with you a simple truth that changes everything. Your words are commands, not requests. Too often, people speak as beggars instead of rulers. They plead, "Oh, I hope things will work out. I wish I could have a better life." But that is not the way of faith. Faith does not beg. Faith decrees. A king does not plead with his servants. He issues decrees. And those decrees are carried out without question. So it is with you. When you speak with faith, you are issuing decrees into the unseen realm, and those decrees must return fulfilled. Job 22:28 tells us plainly, Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. That is not a suggestion, it is a law. What you decree, when it aligns with divine truth, must come to pass. Let me give you an example. A man once came to me, weary and burdened, saying, I've prayed and prayed for healing, but nothing changes. I asked him, how are you praying? He said, I keep asking God to heal me, but I feel no different. I told him, stop asking for what has already been given. Christ has already borne your sickness. Healing is already yours. Instead of begging for it, begin to declare it. And so he changed his prayer. He began to say daily, I am healed by the stripes of Christ. Life flows through every cell of my body. I walk in divine health. At first, he saw no change, but he persisted. He spoke it morning and night. He spoke it when he felt pain. He spoke it when doubt whispered. And one morning, he woke up without the symptoms that had plagued him for years. Why? Because he moved from begging to decreeing. He aligned his words with what God had already provided. Friends, this is the difference between hoping and knowing. Hoping whispers, maybe; knowing declares, it is done. Let us consider another truth. Your words are not only creative, they are sustaining. By that I mean this: what you speak consistently will not only bring something into being, but it will keep it alive in your experience. Have you ever known someone who experienced a breakthrough, perhaps in finances or health, only to lose it soon after? Why? Because while their faith opened the door, their words closed it. They declared abundance one moment, but then they complained of lack the next. They affirmed healing in prayer, but then spoke sickness throughout the day. And as a result, what they had received slipped away. This is why discipline is essential. You must be consistent in your words. Once you speak something into existence, continue to water it with affirmations of faith until it becomes rooted in your reality. Think of your words as the water that nourishes the seed. If you plant a seed of prosperity but water it with doubt, fear, and negativity, it will wither. But if you continually water it with affirmations of abundance, gratitude, and trust, it must grow. Let me share another story. There was a woman who longed for peace in her home. She often said, my house is full of strife. We're always arguing. I can't stand the tension. And that was her daily experience. One day she learned the power of words and decided to change her confession. She began to declare, my home is a sanctuary of peace. Love and harmony fill every room. God's presence dwells here. At first, nothing changed. The arguments continued. But she refused to stop declaring peace. She spoke it in the morning as she set the table. She whispered it at night before bed. She affirmed it whenever conflict arose. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the atmosphere of her home shifted. The arguments grew fewer. A spirit of gentleness settled in. Today, her home truly is a place of peace. Friends, she spoke it into existence and sustained it with her words until it became her reality. This is your calling as well. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are not bound by conditions. You are the architect of your world, and your words are the tools by which you build it. But let me be clear, this is not about selfish gain or empty positivity. No, this is about aligning your words with the will of God. For God's will is always life, health, provision, peace, and righteousness. When you speak these things, you are not inventing them. You are declaring what heaven has already decreed. Now, let us bring this into practice. I want you to begin each day with declarations that align with divine truth. When you rise in the morning, before you look at your phone, before you complain about yesterday, speak life into your day. Say aloud, I walk in divine favor today. Every door I need will open. Every step I take is guided. Health, wealth, and peace flow into my life. I speak only what I wish to see, and I see what I speak. Throughout the day, guard your tongue. If you are tempted to say, I'm so tired, replace it with, I am full of strength. If you want to say, I can't afford that, instead say, God is my source, and I always have enough. If you catch yourself declaring defeat, immediately cancel it with a word of victory. This is how you train your tongue to serve you instead of sabotage you. And remember, consistency is the key. Seeds do not bear fruit overnight. But if you continue speaking life, your harvest must come. Let us close with this reminder. The world you see around you today is not final. It is simply the result of yesterday's words. And tomorrow's world will be the result of what you speak today. So choose carefully, speak deliberately, speak boldly, declare health where you see sickness, declare abundance where you see lack, declare peace where you see chaos, and truly know that your words are not empty, they are filled with creative power. So go forth and speak. Speak with authority, speak with faith, speak with courage, and as you do, you will discover the eternal truth. The power of life and death is in your tongue, and when you choose life, you will eat its fruit in abundance. My friends, the time is now. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you speak. Speak now, and circumstances will bow. Do not wait for the evidence before you declare. Declare now, and the evidence will appear. Your words are the brushstrokes on the canvas of your destiny. Paint with intention, paint with faith, paint with love, and watch as the masterpiece of your life unfolds before you, spoken into existence by the power of your own tongue, aligned with the eternal will of God.